A very good afternoon to you. 12 hours GMT in Accra, and you're welcome to Midday Live right here on TV3. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Let's stand by for the headlines. And coming up this afternoon, Ghana to give United States of America unimpeded access to its territory and facilities following a defense agreement reached between the two countries. Also, violence erupts again Monday night at Ehia in the Ashanti region, with 3 more persons sustaining severe cutlass wounds. And on the foreign front, campaign group Amnesty International says Nigerian army ignored repeated warnings of an attack on Dapchi town hours before 110 school children were kidnapped. Right, so we have the detail plus this, business and sports news all in the next hour. If you want to stay with us on Facebook and Twitter with your comments, we're also streaming there. It's TV3 Ghana. Let's settle for the detail now. And Ghana is to give the United States of America unimpeded access to its territory and facilities following a defense agreement reached between the two countries. Now, the agreement is set to receive Parliament's ratification, but would grant the U.S. military and civilian personnel a wide range of privileges, tax exemptions and immunities as those granted to administrative and technical staff of a diplomatic mission. Komla Kluche has the following report.
On Tuesday, February 19, 2008, former U.S. President George Bush put to rest what was widely speculated as a military base in Ghana after Ghanaians expressed outrage.
We do not contemplate adding new bases. In other words, the purpose of this is not to add military bases. I know there's rumors in Ghana. All Bush is coming to do is try to convince you to put a big military base here. That's baloney.
Cabinet at its 28th meeting on March 8, 2008 approved the agreement following which the Defense Minister Dominic Nito has since March 14, 2008 asked Parliament to give effect to the agreement. In the leaked confidential document, the United States contractors shall not be liable to pay tax or similar charge assets within Ghana in connection with this agreement, is stated. Personnel of the U.S. military can also enter and exit Ghana with a wide range of documents, including an identification card or individual travel orders. Per the agreement, the U.S. will use Ghana as a base to facilitate, among other things, training of its military, staging and deployment of U.S. forces aircraft, refueling and landing and recovery of aircraft. Ghana will be mandated to provide unimpeded access to and use of agreed facilities and areas to U.S. forces, contractors and other staffs. This new agreement, TV3 guarded, is a renewal of the commitment of both the U.S. and Ghana to an expired agreement, the Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement, which was entered into on April 28, 2015. It is intended to strengthen the defense relationship between the two countries and also to address shared security challenges in the African region, including those relating to the protection of government personnel and facilities. Government has confirmed the defense agreement exists between Ghana and the U.S. but will not confirm the authenticity of this document. Defense Minister Dominic Nito has denied the establishment of a military base in Ghana.
The United States of America is not, and let me repeat, is not establishing a military base in Ghana. At all, far from that. A military base, it is not true. And they do intend to establish a military base in Ghana.
Security experts have already raised concerns on the implications this will bring to Ghana.
It looks quite grim if the officialdom comes to confirm that this agreement has been signed and sealed and dusted. Then we will have to interrogate and ask them why. Because I would say that since independence, Ghana has really not fought any war. We have no country has invaded us, and we have not invaded any country. And so I would be wondering if, yes, we need to retool our military and get our military trained. But are we doing that hoping that we will be able to fight off another country when we are invaded, or what are we doing that for? So we need to ask a lot of questions of our leaders. Ask them why now? Why are we doing this? Is there the need? So we need to know.
There has been terrorist activities in neighboring African countries and the deployment of forces here in Ghana, many say will help fight.
I do think that he is more visionary than some recent Ghanaian leaders.
Already, President Akufo-Addo, in his last visit to the U.S., pledged Ghana's support to the U.S. to fight terrorism. The confidence of the Americans in Ghana has been heightened.
Ghana is considered a level 1 threat for crime and for security broadly on a scale of 4.
Okay.
So it's at the minimum level. I feel very safe here.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Right, so it's quite clear there that the agreement is yet to receive Parliament's ratification. Shortly, we'll be going over to Parliament where our reporter Catherine Frimpoma is in the House, and she'll be telling us if, well, the agreement, we understand it's on the other paper, so we want to find out if really it's present on the other paper and it will be laid anytime from now. What next? Also, we are also trying to reach an international expert, Professor Vladimir Nchidansu, to also educate us, especially when it comes to issues of acquisition and cross-servicing agreements, which was entered into on April 28, 2015. Exactly what does it mean? And this agreement between Ghana and the USA, how does it benefit us as a country? And what's the implications would be also if Parliament should grant a ratification to this particular one? So as and when we get through to him, we'll be bringing you more. But let's move on to a developing story. And violence erupted again Monday night at Enya in the Ashanti region, with 3 more persons sustaining severe cutlass wounds. Now, this is in spite of deployment of security personnel in the area. Our reporter Ibrahim Abubakar has been to the community and brings us more update.
Relative calm has been restored, even though security remains very tight here to prevent any reprisal attack. But then one worrying development that we are hearing was that yesterday night, despite the presence of the security, 3 persons sustained cutlass wound and currently are at the hospital receiving treatment. Let me engage with the Municipal Chief Executive, who is also the head of Municipal Security Council, Nana Osei Esibe. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, sir.
Yesterday night, despite the presence of the security, we heard that 3 persons have sustained cutlass wound. Can you confirm that?
Yes, I came here and the police informed me that something of that nature happened at the branch side of their eye. They were moving around all the places, and to the surprise of everybody, some people were going around, and so they attacked about 3 people.
So how can you assure residents that they will be safe here? Because despite the presence of the security, so people were injured.
We'll beef up security, we'll bring more people to come and help. Also talking to the Regional Security Council to see if they can do something about it. Well, we are here to get information. I'm even here to give them a report. I'm here to study the situation and report to the Regional Security Council. And based on that, maybe the Regional Security Council will also do something about that.
Honorable, this is the second time in the year that we are witnessing violent attacks here. What measures have you put in place to ensure that we do not record this again?
This one is completely different from the first one. They are not the same thing. So we did our best to restore peace here. We met the whole community, all the opinion leaders. We assembled them, and we came out with a roadmap to ensure that there's peace at Tehran. Unfortunately, this also is here with us. So after reviewing the situation this morning, the Municipal Security Council meet and then study the situation and see what we can do next to avoid the future occurrence of such a situation.
One thing we also observed when we went around this morning is that schools remain shut this morning.
Yes, it's arrangement we are putting in place because we don't want people to assemble, especially children. When they assemble and something happens, the way they will run, the way they will behave, it can also create another confusion. So we are making an appeal to the Director of Education to at least close down the school today for us to study the situation before we allow the children to come to school tomorrow. But at any rate, we also ask the security men to put policemen at all the schools so that in case something happens, they can control that one.
And for how long are these men in uniform going to be around?
I can't say for sure that they'll be around for today or tomorrow. The Municipal Security Council will meet, and based on the recommendation that the committee will bring up, that will let us know as to when the police will be here. But they will be here for some. Even after the last incident, we still have police presence at Tehran every night, every day to control the situation. It's rather unfortunate that this also happened at the branch side of the eye. So the police will be here to make sure that there's peace at Tehran.
All right, thank you very much. That was Nana Ose Esibe Bonsu, the Municipal Chief Executive of Kwabere East. Well, you heard him saying they will be pleading with the Education Director to at least give the pupils holiday today because they do not want anything untoward to happen to them. But then, as you can see, business activity has started building up, even though most stores remain shut. But then there has been relative calm here. And yesterday, 48 suspects were arrested by the Ashanti Regional Police Command, and they will be assisting the police in investigation this morning.
Well, so we'll stay a while longer on the clashes because Ibrahim Abubakar has been bringing more reports of schools having been closed for the day. And also we have some residents calling for justice to prevail in the area. So let's go back and listen.
Schools have also been shut down for the day, and we are hoping that by tomorrow academic activities will resume. There is relative calm here. Security continues to remain very tight here, at least to prevent any reprisal attack. But this is the second time this violent incident is happening in this community. We will be engaging some of the residents to find out how this violent clash has been affecting their economic activities here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are a resident of this community. How worried are you with these clashes?
It's honestly a bit worried because, as you can see, activities and then have been put to hold due to this clash and everything. It's very unfortunate. We all want peace to prevail because it's one community. It's just that it's just a road that is separating both of us. So one community cannot be at loggerheads like that. We always want peace to prevail so that in the future such occurrences will not happen again.
This is not the first time we are witnessing this violent attack. What do you think be done to ensure that there is a lasting peace?
I've always said this and I'll keep saying it. When you want peace, you make sure you do justice. I always say this and I'll keep saying it. When there's no justice, forget about peace. It won't happen. Because even your own children, if you have two children and they fight and you don't make justice between them, tomorrow they will definitely fight. One will feel cheated.
Right, so we'll be following up on happenings in area and be updating you more in subsequent bulletins. But news just in is that information reaching us from Takoradi indicates that legendary high life musician CK Man is dead. Now, the veteran gave up the ghost on Tuesday morning after months of battling ill health. The sad incident happened around 10 a.m. at the Gapoa Hospital in Takoradi. CK Man was 83 years old. CK Man, the pioneers of high life music, is best remembered for the song like Ajoa Yankee, Asafo Besan, Kolomashi, and Okwantin Tinawari. Well, may his soul rest in peace. Chrissie Abunimah is a presenter and he joins us on phone to tell us more about the demise of the late CK man. Chrissie, good afternoon to you.
My name is Papa Kofi. Good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, can you confirm the demise of CK man and where did it happen?
The late Charles Kofi Man from Indesimum near Elmina passed on this morning at the Gapohak hospital this morning at 7 a.m. in Takoradi. He's been battling with some sickness for some time. He's 82 years old and he's not been well for some time now, but we all knew that at least the Lord will spare us the life of CK Man. But unfortunately this morning, early this morning, he had to was called by his maker.
Now, we know he's best known when it comes to high life music. Let's look at what he stood for as a high life pioneer.
When it comes to high life, I think CK Man is one of the most revolutionaries when it comes to high life music. I mean, his album Funky High Life redefined high life. You know, when we talk about high life, we're talking about the guitar bandstand, we're talking about the big band and all those. CK had an album called Funky High Life, where the rhythm changed. It was kum, kum, ka. Nobody had done that. The high life goes with a 3-time rhythm. Ka, 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 ka. It was actually CK Man with his Carousel 7 who changed the face of high life in the country. So when it comes to high life, we can, though he wasn't singing that much. CK Man, the only album that CK Man had sing, the first album that he sang was in 1988 when he sang Ajo Yankee by himself. He had the likes of Papa Jansen with him in the band. So whilst Papa Jansen joined the band as a vocalist, CK Man joined the band as a leader and guitarist. CK Man had Kakeku to learn the rudiments of guitar from Kakeku in Takwa Aboso. And then he came back to Takradi to form the Carousel 7. Comes to high life, big band high life. We have the guitar bandstand, then now Fanny and producer, they play guitar bandstand. But when it comes to big band, like what we play in the ballroom, this is CK Man for you. Apart from Ramblers, the Stargazers, King Bruce, E.T. Mensers, those were the 60s. But in the 70s, it actually belonged to CK Man. So you can't talk about high life without talking about CK Man. Whether Papa Jansen, for instance, will get a name, make it so big, will depend on CK Man. Did all the compositions, did all the guitar work, did all the arrangements with the help of Taylor, and Papa Jansen was doing the vocals. So when it comes to proper high life, we give the credit to CK Man. He had won the Flagstaff Award. He had won almost everything Ghana has to offer as far as awards are concerned. Even when the awards were being conferred on him by ECRAS, that was the Entertainment Critic and Reviewers Association of Ghana at that time. So for high life music, we always credit CK Man for the kind of high life that he produced.
All right, it's quite an insightful one from CK Man. Well, Chrissie Abunimah, the presenter here at Onua FM, giving us some good moments of the late CK Man, who we understand gave up the ghost on Tuesday morning after months of battling with ill health, and he was 83 years old. Well, a life well lived, we say. May his soul rest in peace. Let's move on now to some more this afternoon. And the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, on Monday announced that Cabinet has approved the Rights to Information Bill to be laid in Parliament before the end of this week. The bill is expected to ensure transparency and reduce corruption in both the public and private sectors when passed. Dr. Bawumia made the observation during an interaction with a Norwegian business delegation here in Accra.
Cabinet has given approval to the Right to Information Bill to be laid in Parliament for debate and approval, because it is very, very critical that we pass the Right to Information Bill. It is our hope that this will be an additional feather in our cap in the fight against corruption.
Right, so the Right to Information Coalition gave government a 10-day ultimatum to lay the Right to Information bill before Parliament, and the coalition expects that the bill to be laid before Parliament before it rises on March 23 if President Akufo-Addo's promise of the bill becoming law in 2018 is to be met. Well, the ultimatum follows the assurance by the President to have the bill passed into law before this meeting of Parliament ends. The Vice President has spoken, but joining us in the studio this afternoon is a member of the Right to Information Coalition and Executive Secretary of the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, Beauty MFA Nate. Good afternoon to you, and good having you here in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the President was clear that the bill will be passed before Parliament rises. Now, realistically, it doesn't look like it will happen. Are you disappointed?
Not necessarily. Looking at our advocacy, when we started the countdown, we admitted that it was not possible for the bill to be passed, given that the short duration that the President spoke. So, in terms of that, as part of our countdown, we were expecting that it will move, the bill will move from Cabinet to Parliament. That is our greatest expectation. So, it's heartwarming to hear the Vice President say it's going to go to Parliament before they rise. And that is what we are going to monitor to see if indeed it will get to Parliament before they rise on Friday.
What if it doesn't happen? Looking at the back and forth, we've heard some members of the minority also speaking on it.
Yes.
So should it not happen before Parliament rises?
Well, that will take us to the stage 2 or phase 2 of our advocacy. So the countdown is the phase 1 of the advocacy. So we have another strategy for phase 2. And if that doesn't happen, then we are forced to embark on that strategy.
What's in store for phase 2 if it doesn't happen?
Well, that would bring out the same way we were able to bring out the countdown as a strategy for phase 1. We'll do the same and launch the phase 2 phase 2 strategy as soon as Friday expires and then the bill is not laid before Parliament. So let's see what happens. We are still hopeful that whatever the President said and what the Vice President confirmed, we are hopeful that it should happen before Parliament rises. Yes.
Now let's look at what has happened so far, considering the commitment of this government to pass the Right to Information Bill. How would you grade it? Do you think government remains committed, looking at happenings back and forth?
Yes. Compared to previous administrations, there is some kind of indication from government. I must give Madam Gloria Kufu some credit, because as soon as she took office, she invited us to make input into the bill. And we had that input into the bill. We engaged them on it and then gave what we think that should be incorporated in the bill. So that was started. But I must also admit that the OSP, which is the Office of Special Prosecutor Bill, took some attention from the other outstanding anti-corruption bills. So there was more focus on that OSP before it was finally passed. But we didn't think that after the OSP, there should be that lack of, engagement on the RTI bills. That's why we were so excited when the President made that remark at no other platform but at the Independence Square, which was a delight to us. So we took advantage of his statement and we wanted to let him know that we really mean business and we really want to monitor that whatever campaign promise he made is fulfilled. So that's why we had that phase 1 advocacy. But we are expecting that it will be laid in Parliament. Once it is laid, we don't expect the bill to be laid under the certificate of urgency. The reason being that once that is done, it gives that short window for engagement on the bill. But we want to have input into the bill even at Parliament, because as you and I know, the Vice President is saying that Parliament and Cabinet has approved the bill. But we have not seen it.
Okay.
And we don't know exactly what has been approved. But once it goes to Parliament, it becomes a public document, and we could assess that and be sure that whatever was laid in Parliament, it's something that we are comfortable with.
Okay, so we wait to see what happens if it would be there or not before Parliament rises. Well,
Exactly.
we're grateful for your time. Beauty MFR Nate is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition here, talking about the Right to Information Bill, where the coalition is hoping that, well, it happens live in Parliament before it rises. But you're watching Midday Live. We'll return with more after this. Stay with us. This is Midday Live. Let's do some business now. And the Greater Accra Regional Shippers Committee has added their voice to calls for government to halt the ongoing fumigation exercise at the Temu port. In a statement, the committee confirmed that possibly affected relevant stakeholders were not consulted before implementing the project. Now, the statement signed by the chairman of the committee, Brema Dr. Ofori-Ameyaw, the first, said shippers will not be held responsible for the logistics and cost of any decontamination exercise. Now, they indicated yet another process before goods can be released at the port would not only increase cost and time, but it unnecessary at the point. Now, more worrying is that there is very little information about the service provider LCB Worldwide Ghana with regards to expertise in decontamination and biosafety management to warrant the award of this contract to them. And the Vice President, Dr. Abunimah, says new national identification cards will be issued beginning May this year. These new cards, he says, will contain tax identification numbers to help government track companies which do not honor their tax obligations. Dr. Abunimah made the disclosure when he addressed a Norwegian business delegation currently in the country to set up a Norwegian fund called Norfund in Accra.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, was confident the new identification cards will promote a friendly business climate. He stated that it will also reduce the cost of doing business and help government to track those who do not pay taxes. These new cards, Dr. Bawumia said, will be issued in May this year.
A rollout of Ghana's national ID system next month, which means that we are going to provide unique identification to everybody in Ghana, whether you are a foreigner or you are a citizen. We will have unique ID numbers, and these will automatically transform into your tax identification numbers. So when you don't file your taxes, we know.
To improve on business environment, he again spoke about government's decision to roll out the interoperability policy in May this year. Under this policy, Ghanaians could send money through their mobile wallet account to their banks and vice versa.
We are providing this vehicle for financial inclusion, and it will help us also move towards a more cashless society. And this is not long to go. A lot of work has been done on it, and we hope to launch it in May this year.
The Vice President was happy. These initiatives should help the Norwegian business delegation to set the Norfund West African Secretariat in Ghana. Managers of the Norfund have earmarked more than $3 billion to assist growth of agribusiness. Part of the amount is to be invested in companies which are into producing and marketing of agri-products, while those into packaging will also be assisted. However, the managers say startup businesses will not be assisted. East West African CEO Nana Winful-Finn said Norfund is ready to help the growth of the private sector.
Having Norfund's investment can itself help the company to mobilize other pools of capital from other institutional investors and other kinds of investors as well.
Other speakers lauded the establishment of the fund, which will promote and expand Ghana's economy. The Norwegian delegation signed a memorandum of understanding with leaders of the existing Norwegian companies in Ghana.
And news in is that President Akufo-Addo has left Ghana for the extraordinary summit of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union, which will be held in Kigali, Rwanda. A press release signed by Communications Director at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin, said the extraordinary summit will witness the signing of an agreement that will launch the African Continental Free Trade Area, intended to make Africa the largest free trade area created since the formation of the World Trade Organization. He was accompanied by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Shirley Ayoko-Botwe, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Chemanting, and officials of the Presidency and the Foreign Ministry. The President will return to Ghana on Wednesday, March 21, 2018. And in his absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Article 60, Clause 8 of the Constitution, act in his stead. And Martin Amwating, our citizen journalist, reports from Ajafo, a suburb of Kumasi in the Ashanti region, on the flooding situation in the area.
This is the main road the people of Ajafo utilize in order to carry out their daily activities. When it rains, this is what happens. Everything comes to a standstill. It's simply a death trap trying to cross to the other side of the road. Last year, a couple of students nearly got drowned. It took the intervention of the fire service and some good Samaritans to rescue them. I'm told the MP responsible for this jurisdiction is aware of this and yet has been paying lip service to the situation. Probably he wants to see people die before he walks his talk. My name is Yabo Amata, reporting from Ajafo, a suburb of Kumasi in the Ashanti region.
Right, so just as Martin reports from Ajafo, you can also send your video reports via our WhatsApp line. It's 05514330044, and we'll also broadcast it to the rest of the world. You're watching Midday Live. We're taking a breather. When we return, we have sports. Stay with us. Let's do some more stories this afternoon, talking about happenings in court. And the Supreme Court has ordered lawyers for the former board chairman of the National Communication Authority, Eugene Bafo-Boni, and 4 others who are facing trial for causing financial loss to the state to file their statement of case within 2 weeks. Now, the Apex Court further directed the Chief State Attorney to, within 2 weeks of receipt of that of the plaintiffs, file the statement of case. Now, the Accra High Court put on hold proceedings following an application by defense lawyers seeking to have the prosecution make known all witnesses they will be relying on, and also make available all the documents it intends to tender as evidence. This was opposed to by the prosecution, who argued that the request was seeking an interpretation of aspects of the Constitution, Article 19, 2E and G, a task that can only be performed by the Supreme Court. Delivering his ruling, Justice Eric Bafo said the issue of interpretation had arisen since lawyers on both sides disagree on the meaning of the relevant provisions, hence the need to further the matter to the Supreme Court. The questions expected to be addressed by the Justice of the Apex Court are whether accused persons are entitled to comprehensive trial disclosure, at what point this should be done, and whether the accused persons are entitled to all documents, including those the AG may not use in court. And the case has been adjourned. More, and a senior research fellow at the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, Francis Chega, says Ghanaians are not angry enough in their calls for accountability from government officials. Francis Chega says Ghanaians should break away from the give it to God attitude and demand their rights due from government officials and office holders, because that is what they are in office to do. This is a report filed by Eric Yawiche.
The former diplomat was speaking to TV3 News at the sidelines of a stakeholder workshop on a maiden report of the Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program IPEP Tracker project. Ambassador Chega intimates Ghanaians cannot blame duty bearers for failing to act when they also fail to demand accountability.
We should feel angry about some of the things that are being done, and then see to it that the right things are done.
The Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program (IPEP) is a flagship program of the NPP government which aims to enhance capital infrastructure by expanding and providing upon existing capital structures at the district or constituency levels. This is intended to accelerate growth, create jobs and reduce poverty, particularly in the rural and deprived communities. Government will be allocating $1 million every year to gradually cover each of the 275 constituencies under the IPEP. For this reason, the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, with funding from DFID under the Strengthening Action Against Corruption, has implemented the IPEP tracker to monitor the initial implementation of the IPEP to ensure the project becomes a success. Presenting his findings, Assistant Research Officer at CDD Ghana, Gilfred Esiama, said party faithful see IPEP as a reward for their hard work, and therefore controlling the process will be to ensure their material dividends.
The government should ensure strict adherence to Public Financial Management Act so that citizens can also demand accountability throughout the process.
We return with international and entertainment news. After this, stay with us. And on the foreign front this afternoon, campaign group Amnesty International says that the Nigerian army ignored repeated warnings of an attack on Dapchi town hours before 110 school children were kidnapped from the government's girls' school. They said they spoke to 23 different local leaders who said they saw the militants in the vicinity on the day of the attack.
It has been a month since the kidnapping, and parents of the missing girls still have no information on where their daughters might be. Last week, President Muhammadu Buhari said his government was pursuing negotiations with the militants instead of pursuing them by force. The kidnapping and its aftermath echoes the infamous abduction of the Chibok girls in 2014, 100 of whom are still missing. The local leaders alerted the Nigerian army to the presence of a convoy of militants in a village called Gumsa, about 30 kilometers from Dapchi town. That was early on Monday, February 19. Later that evening, militants attacked the school on at least 9 vehicles, kidnapping 110 children. Amnesty claimed the attack was reported as it happened, but still the army failed to respond. Nigeria's army spokesman said the government has set up a committee to investigate the security lapse which led to the kidnapping, and urged Amnesty to submit its findings to them. In a press release a week after the attack, the army admitted it had pulled out of Dapchi town a few days before the kidnapping. They claimed troops were required elsewhere and Dapchi was considered safe.
Let's do entertainment news now. And the plot in TV3 suspense-filled drama series Sadia thickens by the day. Cecilia Anobania, who played Farida Gibson in Sadia, has been opening up on her role. But what really are Farida's expectations? Let's find out.
What's the matter?
I'm moving you to a safe house. We are not safe here anymore.
Safe house? Like in the movies?
My name is Cecilia Anobania, and I have been in Ghana for about 8 years now. I didn't grow up here, but I am Ghanaian. I did drama at school, so pretty much I found the love from there. And when I arrived, I did a few ads, a few pilots here and there, but due to funding, I think they're still trying to find funding. It hasn't materialized yet. But yeah, and then along comes Sadia, and here I am.
What's going on here? So what? We don't get anything or what? What about the businesses? The group of companies, Daddy?
Farida Gibson is the firstborn of Mrs. Gibson, secondborn of Mr. Gibson. Well, if you call it that. So he's adopted me, basically. He's taken me on. I don't know that. And, you know, during the episodes, I find out in one of the episodes as well that he's actually not my father.
Did my father know about us?
Yes, he knew.
You never told me this, Banfo.
Farida, this is all behind us now, you know that.
So it means he leaves me with nothing.
You never loved your father, did you?
You came on to me, so let's not even debate about who started this.
Get out of my office.
Oh, what?
Get out!
Mom's been arrested.
What?
And a lot of Mr. Gibson's secrets as well. We're just getting to find out as well that he's not just our daddy who has provided for us, and he is actually a more, what's the word? Vicious type, gangster type man. So yeah, I think I'm very pissed off. I believe one of the, you know, series episodes. Sorry, I was very, what? Who is Sadia? You know, so I think I'm especially pissed off, and the fact that I'm looking to my mom and, you know, asking her who's Sadia, and she doesn't know, and nobody seems to know. So the real thing is really why Sadia, and who is she? And so at the moment, I think I believe that maybe she might have been a mistress and not quite who she is. So yeah, so I'm like, you know, I think one of my statements was she needs to prove to me why she's so important. But I'm hoping that, you know, down the line, my character will realize, probably take over. There's a lot of enemies, and, you know, Jamal's not helping because he's in love. My advice to young and up-and actors is stay true to your craft. Be serious about it, you know, have a plan as to what you really want. Don't just float through it. Also, get the right parts as well. I think that is very important for yourself.
McCarthy. You're laughing. You think it's funny?
Oh, Farida, look.
Well, so the suspense continues. It's Mondays and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. right here on TV2. But that'll do for this afternoon's bulletin. Thanks so much for staying with us. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. Also, remember, you can get us live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Have a good afternoon and enjoy your lunch.